You want more D-backs, you can get it. You can text the word D-backs to 620-620. You'll get scores and updates sent straight to your cell, or you can just keep listening because we got more D-backs for you right now. General Manager Kevin Towers joins us to help create more news for Newsmakers Week 2011. Kevin, welcome to the Doug and Wolf Show. You've been on before, but now you get to see the digs, and we don't compete with Salt River or anything, but it's a nice place.
Well, good morning, guys. Beautiful place. Yeah. Nice place to come to work.
And you can see we got MLB Network on above you, and right now they're talking about Roger Clemens. What do you say about Roger? Go.
Kevin Towers, he should be in the Hall of Fame. Your answer, sir.
Yeah, we call that railroading our guest.
So, well, I tell you, I would say that since I want to say back in 2004, I was subpoenaed to go to Congress and speak, and I was. If you remember, I think I was the one guy that spoke out about that there were issues and the performance-enhancing drugs in the game was wrong. These guys are role models, and the last thing that I wanted was the youth America to think the way to get to the big leagues was by using steroids.
I admit I never intended to go there, but I do have to ask, how hard was it to scout? I mean, how hard was it in those days that if you cut somebody, they might get mad at the team and start using, or at the same time, if you ever thought a guy was just using to get the contract and then was going to stop, how did it affect your job as a GM and a scout in those days?
Well, it was very difficult. Fortunately, I was in a market to where we didn't really have the resources to probably give the big contracts out to, so we didn't get locked in for 3- and 4-year deals where guys might have a peak year and then some bad years. So it didn't affect us that much, but you just didn't know. I mean, it wasn't something that was done openly in a clubhouse, and you certainly had your suspicions, but it was a crazy era. I remember guys, fans lined up at 4:00 in the afternoon to watch home run derby, in batting practice before the game started. Guys were launching balls up into the upper deck, and it was a freak show.
Yeah.
Kevin, if you would, please indulge me here. Would you complete this sentence? If blank happens, the Arizona Diamondbacks will be competitive in the NL West.
We're going to have to pitch, Ron. The most important thing, I think, if you look at the clubs in the NL West the last couple of years that have won the division and went deep into postseason, you look at the Giants last year. It was their starting pitching and their bullpen, and I think everybody knows a thorn in our side's been our pen. I think we've got some nice young starters. Hopefully, guys like Ian Kennedy, Barry Enright, Daniel Hudson take a step forward this year, even better than last year. They logged innings last year, but if they step it up in our bullpen, which I think is much better than last year, then we could compete, and then we, potentially could win the NL West, and who knows where we go from there. But a lot of it's believing, too, mindset, culture, and I think Kirk Gibson and the staff certainly putting that into play right now.
Go much deeper into the organization as far as the new D-backs way, the new D-backs philosophy. I think everybody would say the dream situation is the Minnesota Twins, where every element of spring training and the minor leagues and the major leagues, it's all on the same page. I'm sure everybody wants to get to that point if you're a smaller market. How do you get there?
Well, continuity, when you think of the Twins, Jim Rance, the Terry Ryan, those guys they've only had 2 managers maybe in the last 25 years. So, it's continuity and consistency. And we've got a lot of new leaders. We've got a new scouting director, a new farm director, a new VP of scouting player development, entire new coaching staff. My hope is that, Gibby and I will be here for a long time. And, when I think of the new D-back way, Gibby and I talk about it all the time. We're going to compete. We're going to compete every inning, every game for 162 games. I wish I could tell you what the outcome's going to be, but I think when people play the Diamondbacks now, they're going to know they're in for a war, and it's a mindset and the type of players that we think that we've acquired and brought into our clubhouse. But I guess in a nutshell, we're going to compete.
What players, Kevin, would you point to and say they're leaders? They're leaders in the clubhouse. They're leaders on this team.
I think coming in, Henry Blanco, I've had some history with in San Diego. He's going to be great for Miguel Montero, and especially our Latin players. Jeff Blum, Melvin Mora, guys that have won before, guys that know the way you're supposed to play the game. And I think what you've seen here with the Diamondback Club the last 2 or 3 years is some great young players. Fortunately, they won in 07, then they faced some adversity. I don't know if they knew how to, or had the veterans around them to know how do you deal with that. Asking a Justin Upton at age 21 to not only, be A-Rod or, Ken Griffey Jr., and be the leader of the organization, that's asking a lot of a young guy. So, my hope is that with their coaching staff, guys like Blum, guys like Mora, guys like Nady, they'll take the load off the young players, and hopefully, Justin emerges as a leader at some point in time, maybe a Stephen Drew, but I think some of the names I just mentioned, I think are the guys who will provide the leadership we're looking for.
Before you became GM, I think a lot of people figured it would be Mark Reynolds or Adam LaRoche coming back for next season. I think a lot of people assumed not both. You become GM. Oh, wow, okay, that's on the table, that neither of them are coming back. How dramatic is the change by losing that type of power stick, but also hopefully losing that number of Ks at the same time?
I think we're still going to score a lot of runs. I think this club will score as many runs or more runs than last year's club. It'll be just in a different fashion. In Mark Reynolds' case, we needed to improve our pen. We knew that, being in our market, we weren't going to be able to put our entire bullpen together through free agency. So to acquire a couple of good young arms, which we like in Hernandez and Micolayo, we had to move a good player. In LaRoche's situation, it was probably highly unlikely we weren't going to have him beyond this year. And first base to me is, always probably the one area where, there's usually a large group of guys through free agency. You could, hopefully replace some of that power. Between Miranda, Brandon Allen, Xavier, Nady, we think we'll be able to do that. Defensively, it's tough to replace that glove. I mean, LaRoche was a very, very nice defender at first, but we're going to score runs. This ballpark at Chase Field, it's fast in the infield. It's got wide out. The outfield gaps are expansive, and the ball's going to carry. And hopefully we just got more players on base, sustain more rallies. Not Earl Weaver type baseball, playing for the crooked number, the 3-run home run a couple times in a game. Hopefully we put pressure on the opponent each and every inning.
Kevin, going into spring training right now, how many jobs are really up for grabs?
25.
25.
And that's what Kirk and I talked about. It's a little bit of old school baseball. We can certainly look what you've done the last 2 or 3 years, but jobs will be had at the end of March. As guys, even like with young players, Jared Parker, I don't want this kid thinks that he's ticketed to go to Mobile or to Reno. I want him fighting for one of those 5 spots in a rotation. That's what Kirk and I want the mentality to be. And, if they earn it, they'll be there. But to give guys jobs February 15th before spring training starts, regardless of what they've done, to me is not the way it should be. You
kept the trivia question alive. The answer is Damian Miller, the last player the Diamondbacks went to arbitration with. It's 2001 is the last time they did that. A horrific process where you sit there and tell a player how bad he is, he says how bad you are, and blames everybody else, and then all of a sudden you have to act like you're best friends. How much did it mean to you to avoid arbitration with Kelly Johnson?
It was very big. I went through the process twice in my 14 years in San Diego, and it's a horrible process. There's no winners. Exactly what you said. I mean, you sit there across from table from one of your players you're counting on to either contribute offensively or win games for you on the mound, and basically tell him about how fat he is. He doesn't go out in the community, doesn't do anything. You got all these visuals, of what a poor teammate he is, and then basically the next day you're shaking his hand and saying, hey, we want you to go out and help us win ball games. So I'm glad we avoided it. It's a process that we have to live with. If two sides can't find any common ground, but. I applaud the SFX group. It's a great agency, and Kelly, and now he could come into town. I think he's getting here actually today and focus on baseball versus putting on a suit. Actually, it'd been this morning, hour from now, because I talked about this. I knew I was doing this show. I said I might have to go right from KTAR to the hearing room downtown Phoenix, which wouldn't have been a lot of fun. So I'm happy to be heading back out to spring training and watch baseball. Good.
Is there what kind of conversations are you having with other teams? Or are there any, guys that have played second, third, and shortstop for any American League teams that competed in a, World Series that you would be interested in?
We're close on A-Rod right now.
Oh, so, are you?
Hopefully that jazzes up the fans a little bit. But you know what? I think it's ongoing. I think you're always trying to improve the club. It doesn't stop, the end of January. There's still some players out there in free agency. We'll have a lot of dialogue with GMs as we, get through the Cactus League and as we get into the season. So always looking for ways to improve the club if we can, and get a very dedicated ownership group, with Ken and Derek. They want to win. They want to bring a championship. It's the 10th year anniversary of the 2001 winning the World Series, and hopefully 2011 will be special as well.
That's good, because I don't know if you know this about the Doug Wolf Show. You only get 4 cliches a year. So now you've already just ticked one there. So you got down to 3, and we've got 6 months left. Now the softball cheesy question. We always ask this. You were the one nice enough to give us your time on Newsmakers Week. So talk directly to the fans. This is now your megaphone. What do you want the fans to know about 2011?
Well, I think it's going to be a very, very exciting season. I love Kirk, the coaching staff. I mean, these guys have been preparing all winter long. It's going to be different Diamondback baseball. I'm totally excited. I mean, I think that people are already kind of underestimating what this ball club's going to do. And I've said to a couple of the media types on the print side, could you win the NL West? Why not? And I wouldn't be surprised if you see the Diamondbacks. I love looking at the paper every morning and seeing Arizona on top. I mean, it's civic pride, not at the very bottom. And that goes for, our NBA team, our college teams, our football team. Fans like to see Arizona, the state of Arizona, city of Phoenix, Arizona on top, not at the bottom. And my hope is at the end of 2011, A's where it's supposed to be on the top, not at the bottom.
Kevin, thank you so much for coming down. We really appreciate your time.
Appreciate it, guys. Thanks for having me.
No problem. That's your general manager of your Arizona Diamondbacks, joining Doug and Wolf this morning here on Sports 620 KTAR.